We are live right now with the Payneless Flipping Podcast, where we come to you and teach you how to get into real estate and make it painless for you. Because we all know if you try to do this on your own, you're going to go through some pain. You're even going to go through some pain if you have some help. But that's why we're here, is to help you through it. And today I got an expert with me, Aaron Moore. How you doing, Aaron?
Doing awesome. Pleasure to be here.
Oh, man, I'm glad to have you on here. You are the first Canadian investor, wholesaler, fix and flipper that I've had on here that specializes in doing that part of the business, right? Isn't that, would you say that's what you specialize in, is flipping, wholesaling, doing all that?
That's what we do. Yeah. Number one is wholesaling. Yeah. Done plenty of flips, own rental properties, done some creative deals, but all here in Canada.
Do you ever want to dabble in America? Are you just, hey, I'm in Canada, that's what I'm doing?
It would be to just diversify, but it certainly is not the priority. No, it wouldn't be the focus.
You know, I've found just from talking to a couple of the Canadian investors that I know, they don't really know about wholesaling. Is that true, or is that just who I've ran into?
Probably just who you ran into. It's more prominent in the U.S. I remember going to a seminar in the U.S. before, looking at my hotel window and seeing the "We Buy Ugly Houses" billboards. Well, you don't see much of that in Canada, right? So it's on a different level, like the marketing, the advertising. It's a different level of competition in different markets in the U.S.
So let's kind of talk about wholesaling in Canada. I know in the United States, they have different softwares that make it easy to pull lists, like pre-foreclosure, probate, what else is absentee owner, unknown equity. I haven't found, again, I'm newer to the Canadian world, but do they have software like that makes it easy to pull information, or is that not really prevalent?
Short answer is no. Sure, you can get some lists, but it probably wouldn't be much, maybe something about absentee owners or something like that, but you're not going to get the foreclosure, like any behind on mortgage type info. There's a lot of privacy rules, so information is really private in Canada. So yeah, you're not going to get a ton of lists, and it's probably not a good business for someone to be a list provider around here, because there's just not much, so no one wants to do it.
Well, I think I was talking to you, I think we chatted about the population of Canada is the size of California, right? So it's not just it's not huge in the population size. Does that make it a little bit more difficult to do a large amount of volume, or not really?
Well, we're in the Toronto market, so we are the biggest market in Canada. Mm-hmm. Within an hour and a half, I'm sure there's at least 8 million people, within an hour to 2 hour drive from Toronto,
which is huge. That's huge.
Yeah, we got a big market here.
Yeah.
So we're the biggest in Canada.
Yeah, because that's true. Because I came from Salt Lake City. That's kind of primarily my market, and you have more deals than you know what to do with within 2 million people in the city of Salt Lake City and the surrounding area, 2 to 3 million. So, and it might not even be that big. So Toronto, yeah, you're definitely. There's way enough. And even in the Durham region, I know you were telling me you got a bunch of other deals that can pop up outside of the Toronto metro area, right?
Oh yeah. We think the greater Toronto area includes, a lot of cities. It includes the Durham region, Peel region, a few different regions. But then, it's like the cities just are all connected to each other, and they keep going around the lake. So
yeah, I love it. Big
area. Yeah.
So I've been wholesaling myself for about 7 years. How long have you been in the wholesaling investing game?
I've been wholesaling since about 2007. Started dabbling in 2008, went full time. So, we're over 15, 16 years now.
Wow. Okay. Do you see any signs of it slowing down because of you're seeing kind of the writing on the wall in the States where they're trying to regulate the assignment of contract and trying to control that so they can get keep the money in the pockets of the realtors? Is that happening in Canada?
It's not. I wouldn't say it's happening. You always hear. Even just recently, I heard a little bit of noise from the realtor lobbyists or the realtor, whoever's pushing the realtor rules, that it's probably they're pushing for more regulation, more tightening around anyone transacting real estate that's not licensed, anyone doing it in different ways.
Yeah.
So,
do you happen to have a license yourself, or no?
I don't know. No.
Okay.
But
any reason?
I know lots of realtors. Well, it helps having a wife who's a realtor, so that makes things easier.
Right. But any reason why? Because I do not have one either. I have decided just to stay focused on that investing avenue and not to get distracted. Why have you not decided to get a license?
For me, I'm just very little interested in the the realtor side of things, it's just I would not be actively being a realtor, helping others buy and sell properties.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a bit of a maybe a conflict sometimes. A lot of times when I've been talking with private sellers over the years, they're asking me questions like, are you a realtor? Are you just coming to like list my house? Can I do the bait and switch?
Gotcha.
Really easy to say, no, I'm not a realtor.
Yeah, for sure. Have you, would you say you're primarily focused on wholesaling and not flipping yourself, or would you say you do both depending on which one's the best option?
I do both, but really it's the wholesaling. We are the backup buyer. We go firm on a lot of deals. We're willing to buy them. And a lot of those ones, like we just, I went last week. If you asked me on Friday about a property, I went firm on it last week. I thought I was going to flip it. Then I ended up wholesaling it on Monday. Right. So
it's a good feeling, I bet. Right. You're like, I might take that on. And you're
it wasn't a huge, I was just the backup buyer on it because it wasn't a big profit flip or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can wholesale it to an investor who, really likes that market or likes that type of property, rather than me flipping it, hey, have at it. Right. So I don't need another flip project.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know if this happened to you guys in Canada, but in the States, this happened to me. And I know a lot of other investors, whether they want to admit it or not, but when the interest rates were really low, everybody was flipping like crazy because they just saw that it was a great opportunity. But as soon as interest rates went up, prices started dropping. And I got caught with 3 flips that I couldn't sell. And I took a loss on like all 3 of them. Did that happen in Canada as well? Did people take a lot of losses, or was that not really as like it was?
Yeah, it definitely happened here in 2022 when interest rates were changing.
Mm-hmm.
People, I myself lost on a couple flips, and even some wholesale deals. People walked away from deposits. I stepped in. I remember when I stepped in to be the backup buyer, I knew I'd lose money, but just to help the seller out.
Yeah.
And I didn't lose that much money. Like, I don't even know what it was. I can go look up the accounting records and find out it was 10, 15, whatever we lost. It is what it is. But I know other investors who bought flips, and they, my brother bought a flip from us at that time.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, he still owns it as a rental because he couldn't sell it profitably as a flip. So,
and it's, so my father-in-law, he sold his, unfortunately his mom passed away. But he sold her house at the height of everything for like 1.3 million in Whitby, and someone bought it to like, cause I guess Whitby's close to Toronto, so it's a desirable area. So someone bought it to like build on it at 1.3. It wasn't rehabbed or anything. Then like, they Airbnb'd it for a year and tried to sell it, and they took a big loss on it, about 150,000, because they just sold it recently. But I think anyway, it just seems what's happened. And I guess the market, what would you say the market's looking like in Canada right now? Is it like rebounding? Is it staying the same? What are your thoughts?
As of right now, it's pretty, the same. Like since about a year or two, since second half of 2022, like late 2021, early 2022, it was boom time. Mm-hmm. But since then, it's pretty much the same. It's more or less flat. Yeah, sure, it goes up a bit in spring and then kind of cools down a bit. That's what we've seen the last couple of years. With rates going down, hey, maybe we're coming back to another boom time soon. I don't know. We'll see.
I know that in 2020, so I just bought my house here in Lindsay, Ontario, and I know that we were looking at houses last year, and you could get much more of a house than you could now when I just bought. And so it does seem like the prices have gone up a little bit than from like the initial change and the initial interest rates going up. But
it depends on the season. Like spring markets, you're going to be paying a higher price. Probably right now, I think there'd be deals on the market. There's a lot of inventory right now.
It's sitting there, yeah. So is this area, is it pretty big for investors that want to flip? Like, is that a big I guess job that people like to do?
Yeah, you'll find significant number of flippers around, and most of the markets around here, even in some of the like multi-million areas of Toronto, but certainly like popular areas with like places like Hamilton, Oshawa, they tend to, they have cheaper houses for the, comparatively to the other cities nearby, and a lot of old housing stock.
Right.
Those areas, there's a lot of flipping going on.
Is there a lot of red tape for flippers? Like they have to get permits and they get stopped a lot, or is it pretty simple? They can just go in there. A lot of red tape.
Sure. There's a lot of building permits. I'm sure we've all had our projects sort of stopped at times, if we didn't get a permit in advance,
Mm-hmm.
or you go a little further. It's hard to know. But I went and got permits before, like to change a dishwasher, just to have a permit. Even though it was like kind of a cosmetic reno, but sometimes just to have a permit and make the inspectors happy, just get a permit for something like
Yeah.
like that dishwasher example.
I love that.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. So I don't know how familiar you are with wholesaling in the United States, but the process of the paperwork, but really all it is a real estate purchase contract. And then you have an assignment of contract that you sign with the end buyer. And that's it. You take that paperwork to the title company. Here you have attorneys, but we have attorneys in the United States as well, attorney states, title states. And you take that paperwork and it's pretty much at that point it's done, right? That's the paperwork we need. Is that the same here, or is there more?
Just have an assignment agreement. We have someone like ourselves, our company is getting an agreement of purchase and sale, is what we call it around here, and then we'll sign an assignment agreement with an investor, and we're sort of the middle person, and that's the lawyers will take it from there and just close up the deal.
Are there lawyers, I'm assuming, that represent the seller and the buyer, right?
Correct.
There's two?
Yeah, on both sides, yeah.
Okay, great. So so maybe just different terminology, but the kind of the same type of paperwork.
Exactly. Yeah, very similar.
Is creative done here a lot? Like I know there's a lot of different terminology for sub two, creative. Is that this
I wouldn't,
same thing?
I wouldn't say a lot.
Okay.
But it is done. It can be done. If you talk to most people, they'll say they've never heard of it. Some people say it's never done. That's just because they haven't seen it done. Yeah. But it's right. Not done very often. I remember doing a creative deal with my lawyer, and he was like, other lawyers were seeing it, and like, well, I haven't seen this in like 30 years, this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Do you try that very often when the seller, you can't get them the price they want, so you try to kind of work something out in creative, or it's not so much?
It's rare. Like we'll do a bit of seller financing. I've done, I can count them on one hand over the years. Like it's 3 deals I've done that are more like subject to the existing mortgage, basically taking on the existing mortgage. So it's rare. Right.
So they're subject to. Yeah, so subject to, for people that don't know, that's when they have a mortgage in place, and then seller finance is usually when they own the property outright and the seller's financing you, and you can have them finance a flip that you're doing, or you can just have them finance you buying it. But you're saying you've seen more of sub 2 and taking on the mortgage than just having someone own it outright and then you making them payments.
Well,
is that what you're saying?
The subject to is probably very rare. It's very rare around here. But yeah, seller financing happens. Like, sure, sellers will hold a mortgage, but you can negotiate it. But
they try to make it sound a lot more sexier, like that it happens a lot more. I've been in the States. I've been doing deals for 7 years, and I would say same here. I haven't done that many subject to, just because people, they kind of want to just be out of it, right? They don't want to hold anything in their name.
Yeah, and sometimes I'll use just basic seller financing as an option for people if they want more money. Like if let's say it's a free and clear house, I'll give them an option. Like I'll tell them I'll pay them a higher price if they'll hold a mortgage, and a lower price if they just want to cash out. And I'd say almost everyone takes the lower price to cash out. Yeah,
just to be done. It's easy, right? They don't want. So tell me how your company is built. Is it built kind of like how they teach? Well, I think you're a part of what is it, Collective Genius? Is that the one that you're part of?
Yeah, I'm a member of Collective Genius in the US. Yeah.
So I'm assuming you're getting a lot of like the structure of how like the investors do within the States, and everybody collaborates. So again, what does your company look like at the moment?
Yeah, so like team-wise in different positions, we have outside salespeople. We call them home buying specialists. We have inside salespeople. The industry calls them lead managers. Mm-hmm. We've got a transaction coordinator. We got one and a part-time person doing disposition, so basically selling our deals to investors.
Right.
And then there's also more admin and management type roles as well.
I love it. Okay. Yeah. Do you leverage a lot of virtual assistants, or not so much?
We've got 4, I believe, right now, and all from the Philippines. Wonderful ladies from the Philippines helping us out with different things.
Gotta love the Filipino VAs.
Yeah, great.
What do they do for you?
It's quite the variety of things, but
admin stuff.
ton of admin. It's not, sure, I got some property management happening with the VAs. They do some comps and, basic analysis. They do a lot of, putting together some of the routine marketing, like putting together web pages, email blasts, things like that. They'll help out. Just coordinating everything and doing the tech side of anything.
Love
IT,
it.
help with IT. Yeah.
They say if it can be done on a laptop, it can be delegated. And
True.
And I think that's true, but at the same time, I spend all day on my laptop, so I don't know. Maybe I need to delegate some more, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of things to do on the laptop. Yeah, still, like marketing, sales, we're doing all that local.
I love it. So I'm curious. The big Achilles heel that I've found when I wholesaled and had a bigger company, and right now I'm pretty small, was the cost of marketing. Marketing is very expensive, especially pay per click. Really, whatever you do, it can get very expensive. How is that? How is that in Canada? Is marketing like a big cost, or kind of tell me where that's at for you?
It's definitely a big cost. We spend a lot on, pay per click, different ads. We're doing a mailing right now, which, costs quite a few thousands of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
It all costs money.
Of course.
And we just got to make sure we're converting those leads.
Yeah.
turn them into dollars. If the sales teams, if we're not handling leads well, then, we've had those, it's not like, it's not like our business just keeps going up like this always. It's like, up and a bit down, up and down. It's like, it's kind of like this, right?
And
Just like several months ago, I was like, we're not handling leads well.
Yeah.
A lot of people calling saying, I called a few days ago, but I didn't get a call back. And I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Why are all these slipping through the cracks? So,
wow, you had
tighten up the ship a lot.
The fact that a seller called and said, I didn't get a call back, that's amazing. Because for me, like if you're not on top of your leads, you say goodbye, right? Because someone else is snatching it up. So that's. Have you found that there's a lot of, when you pay for pay per click or mail, like there's 5 or 6 other people also trying, like that the seller's saying, hey, I got multiple offers on the table. Okay.
Around here, definitely pay per click. Mail, not so much. Mail's a bit different around here because it's not very targeted. Like in the US, you're targeting like people behind on their mortgage, people behind on their taxes. Here, what I'm doing is it's like blanketing neighborhoods we kind of want to buy. And so it's like everyone's getting our cheap letter.
Everyone gets a mailer. You get a mailer. You get a mailer.
So with mail, the leads we're getting, they're not, the majority aren't kind of maybe not highly motivated yet, or they're not like maybe ready to sell quite yet. Some are, sure. Y'all like it's
of course
you get some, yes, but the average one isn't there yet, and probably not many other people have mailed them because we're just we're just blanketing. So.
And I would honestly say that's the biggest skill set that is required in wholesaling and doing that model of the blanket. Is like you have to be good at taking the seller through the process to get to when they're ready, right? Because not everybody's ready. Like, hey, give me an offer. I'm ready to sign now. So if you're not able to do that, you got to learn that skill set.
Yeah, if you don't have a decent like sales system, which it's either you or your sales team and someone doing the follow-up and keeping track of everything, you're gonna just waste your marketing dollars.
Yeah, which is the toughest thing because to swallow.
Yeah, I'm trying to. We did a mailer in Q1 this year, and we didn't get any deals from that until Q2. So and I talked with the team like at the end of I want to say let's pretend we did it like middle of the quarter in February. Mm-hmm. At the end of the quarter, at our quarterly, I was like, well, still don't have any success on this mailer we did. Pretty significant big mailer. But then at the end of the next quarter, I'm like, all right, guys, you turned around, you converted these leads into money. Let's do more.
I love it. That's amazing. What is so the average assignment fee in the United States, it really depends on the market you're in because some markets are bigger, like California, your assignment fee is going to be bigger because of the price points, and it just depends, right? Midwest is going to be smaller just because of the price points. What would you say the average assignment fee is in our area right here?
Our average is, if just the past couple of years, it's in the 30s and 40s, so 30,000, 40,000. It's that kind of range, and it'll fluctuate, but ongoing, it's the averages in those ranges.
Yeah, and I would say that's pretty fair because of the price point. Like you're not dealing with $100,000 homes or 200,000. Like you're probably $500,000 is probably the average of what you're saying, right?
And I'm also talking Canadian dollars, and we've taken a hit just recently. So now it's whatever I'm saying is worth less in US dollars than it was a few months ago.
which is good for me because I make not for everybody, but I still make the American dollars and transfer, but they still try to take quite a big of a portion for the transferring it over, right? Yeah. So let me ask you this: so when we find buyers for deals in the United States, we a lot of the times they teach to build a buyers list and email and then nurture the people on there. Is that the same process here? You guys just cultivate a buyers list and email deals out, or is there something else that you guys do here?
Yeah, that's the main thing. Like we've built over years, built a solid buyers list in all different areas of Ontario. So we've got buyers all over on the province, and when we got deals in different areas, we send it to the people who are interested in those areas, and try to connect them. We'll do if a deal doesn't move quick, we might look at some other avenues as well, but that's our main thing.
Would you say the other avenues are like Facebook groups or
we do a Facebook group, but it might be like sometimes we reach out to local realtors.
There you go. Yeah.
If we've seen realtors sell a similar type property recently, sometimes if they've just sold one recently, and maybe even if they have multiple offers, like sometimes we'll see a house that's similar that's sold over asking, which typically means they've often had multiple bidders on it, and we'll contact them to see if they have someone else who might be interested in our house if it's similar, things like that. Certainly.
In the United States, Utah and other states like Texas, they're non-disclosure states. They don't allow you to see what it's sold for over asking. Is that the same here in the area, or do you not need to, or can you see that information? Yeah,
we see that information. We can see nowadays what everything's sold for, over asking, under asking, whatever it is. We'll see what it's sold for.
Which is helpful, right?
To see the reality.
Wow. So it sounds like everything is about the same, to be honest. I don't see really many differences. The marketing, I understand that the marketing has to be either pay-per-click or mail because the lists are kind of out of the game, right? I guess you could flyer neighborhoods you wanted if you want to do that manual labor.
Yeah, and that's essentially what we're doing. We're flyering neighborhoods, but we use the Canada Post, the postal service, to do that.
Much more efficient, right?
Yeah.
Anything specific that your mailers say that are outside the generic, we buy houses?
We do focus on our referral fee. Like around here, we like to. I think for years I've been putting like a PS at the bottom. We'll pay we do it's based on the year, so it's easy to remember. This year we're paying $2,024 for a successful referral fee. So next
2024,
2025.
Hey, I like that. I was about to ask you how you came up with that random number, but now it makes sense.
So you just remember the year and our referral fee.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I would love to, obviously we're connected here and I live in the area and I've wholesale in the United States, but I'd love to figure out how we could do some business together. Even help out if I can. Do you ever do you try to meet with sellers in person, or do you do virtual, even if they're within 30-minute drive, you just deal with everything over the phone? How does that work? Do you go in person or not?
We want to do in person as much as possible.
Okay.
Now, probably I'd say probably 30% of our appointments do end up being virtual because we get leads from all over the province. And then there's those situations maybe with tenants or, there's some reason why it doesn't make that much sense to go to the house. But we try to do in person as much as possible. So you being in Lindsay, we'll have to send you some Lindsay appointments.
I was gonna say I'd love to help out if I can. If it's something where you don't have someone around and I could just hop on over, take some pics for you, I wouldn't mind. It's kind of fun to get out and get back into the mix sometimes. See. Get talking with sales. I love the sales process. That's I don't know if you know too much about me, but I did door-to-door sales for 6-7 years before I got into this. And now I'm focused really hard on the sales because I really think that this business is all marketing, right? Like generating leads. And then you have to convert the leads. So you have to be really good at the sales process. And in the States, we like to take sellers through, like, obviously our cash offer. And if they don't accept, we like to, offer them different options. And, you can do novations. I don't know if they do that so much here in Canada, but you can pretty much, monetize a lead any way you can, like any way, like whether you buy it, you have wholesale, you list it for the seller in their behalf, and you get paid out by a traditional, financing, or you could do creative. So you really can monetize anything. You just have to be able to frame it and get the seller to trust you. Cause that, in all reality, if they trust you, you can pretty much work with them in any way if they want to sell.
Yeah. We still have to figure out novations here. We definitely turned some sellers on to realtors that we know. We connect them with great realtors. So we do look at different options as well. And novations is something we need to explore. But I have explored it, but I do want to. I think we can do it. We just got to figure out a few things.
Yeah, I know. It's like the attorney in fact they call it, or they have the power of attorney, and it just allows you to list it and somehow get paid. I don't really understand. I'm not an attorney, but I'm sure it's can be done if you got the attorney that's willing to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. So I'm trying to think of anything else. This has been super helpful because I have been interested in kind of figuring out how I can, help you out, do some deals, or even figure out how this business works out in here. And it does seem very similar. I ran nationwide pay-per-click in the States for about 3 years, which, was good, but at the same time can create a lot of problems because you're getting deals from all over, and you have to run comps, and it's all new to you. But have you ever kind of wanted to dabble in like Alberta or different areas, or has it just always been, hey, let's just focus and stick with Toronto?
We definitely want to dabble across Canada, but it's sort of at the right pace at the right time, like because we do get leads across Canada. Just kind of randomly through the internet. So there's times, I've tried to refer to someone a lead in Saskatchewan. I can't find anyone in Saskatchewan because, it's not the biggest population, but it's hard to find someone like any wholesaler or even investor out that way quickly. It's not, so there's opportunity anyways.
Yeah, of course. And I'm sure you've probably thought, like most of us, like, where's the least amount of competition so I can, just crush it out there.
Yeah, there are areas in Canada that don't have much competition. Like part of it goes with the population as well.
Right. Yeah. And that's the same. I would say that's the exact same in the States. If there's not a lot of competition, it's usually because it's not that good of an area.
Yeah.
Not a lot of investor friendly, flippers in the area that would take on a property. But hard money is the same here, I'm assuming. Like they borrow the money to flip the properties. Then I'm sure most investors aren't just taking $800,000 or $500,000 and putting into one property. They're probably leveraging.
There's private lenders, different lending options, some institutional, some private individuals, things like that for sure.
Okay. Yeah. Where do you see like if you could see one thing that one problem that needs to be solved in the ecosystem of what we do, where could it be? Could it be like better buyers? Could it be like the marketing could be better, like better salespeople? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like if there's one issue, where is it that you see in the business that you wish you could solve it?
Yeah. Now that you brought it up, like one of them is doing novations in Canada. I've never heard of anyone doing it in the country yet. That is a problem I'd like to figure out soon. Mm-hmm. I think there's going to be a way to do it that'll be good for everyone. Mm-hmm. Hey, always, but then part of it always comes down to people. Like like you mentioned, salespeople. It's sales. We're in a people business. Our team is people. The sellers are people. So like getting great people on your team is important. It's been important for growing our company. Hey, we're always looking to hire salespeople. So any salespeople in Ontario, GTA listening to this, connect with us because we're pretty much always looking to hire like either inside salespeople, outside salespeople. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, I would say you're exactly right. This like finding good people that stick around is the key. Because like in the States, when you find a really good acquisitions manager, that's what we call it. Or would that be outside sales? Is that what you guys call it?
Outside sales, yeah.
Is like, they're really good. And eventually they find out like, oh, I can just market myself. Let me try. And whether they succeed or not, it doesn't matter. But a lot of the time they try. I don't know does that happen here where a lot of people, they kind of feel like they understand the process. And if they're really good, they just.
Yeah, it's happened before. Some people people will kind of try it themselves. But I have seen it happen before. And, people try.
Yeah, for sure.
Some will, some won't, right?
Yeah. So people is, you're saying if there's one issue, that's an issue every business has, is like, let me get the good people that work hard and they're accountable and they do what they say they will. Well, that's amazing. Well, so for everybody that wants to get a hold of you to learn, if they have an investment property in Canada that they want to sell, right? Like something that they don't want to fix or flip themselves, you're saying they should go to GTA House Buyers. Is that .ca?
Yeah. GTAhousebuyers.ca. That's where sellers can go. Hey, even we're always looking to buy from investors. We'll buy a lot of rental properties. So if people want to get rid of a portfolio of properties, or just if you got a headache tenant, we'll deal with a bad tenant situation. So we'll handle those. But investors, if people want to get access to our wholesale deals, they can go to a different website. It's housedealsgta.ca. And, GTA that's Greater Toronto Area. So, but we do all across Ontario. So if you're looking, for deals in Ontario, housedealsgta.ca.
Not Grand Theft Auto.
No,
Greater Toronto Area.
In our marketing on Google, sometimes we get like kids, like gamers searching for GTA and houses, and they come up to our site.
Yeah, it's like, hey, if you guys can know how to sell, we'll hire you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, this has been really insightful. Again, I appreciate it. And I think there's one other question I had for you. Let me see if I can remember. It was not the marketing, not the dispositions. Do you go to any meetups around here that like you find very useful, or do you not so much go to like the RIAs or the events?
The reality is I did more before COVID. I still go to Durham REI, the Durham group, occasionally. REIN, REIN, I've been a member for years. Pre-COVID, they used to have awesome local meetings, but now it's virtual. Those are the two main ones I've gone to over the years.
Great. Have you ever thought like, let me see if I can start my own, or has that always kind of not been, want to do that?
I guess we've talked, within our company about maybe doing a meetup for local investors, but it certainly hasn't risen up to the priority level. No.
Yeah, a lot of being successful I found is staying focused. There's always things that sound good and maybe might work, but it's really important to stay locked in and just perfect the process that you want to focus on and be good at. Well, Aaron, is there anything else you want to let the audience know about wholesaling, whether they're in Canada, the United States? Any tips or advice that you want to give? Because most of the listeners that we have are getting into the business.
Yeah. Well, sooner you get into real estate, the better. I got in seriously in my 20s. I'm in my 40s now, so it's been a while. But sooner you get in, the better. Get around real estate, wholesaling, buying rental properties, whatever it is, do it.
Love it. Well, me, Aaron, if you need anything again from me, I'm an open book and I love to learn and help out. So if there's anything, like I said, if you need even sales, like if you're guys, you don't know much about my sales experience, or like, I guess haven't seen me sell, but if you're ever interested, I do sales. Oh, sorry. I do sales training as well. So I'd love to talk to your guys and see if I can help out in any way possible.
Appreciate it. And I want to send you soon to a house in Lindsay to, get under contract for us.
I would love to do that for you. All right. Well, Aaron, I appreciate you, and hope everybody go check them out. And I want to check that out too. Give me one more time that website of the where you have your
for
deals
investors.
At. Yeah.
It's housedealsgta.ca.
I should have looked on this website before I bought my house here. I might have been able to find something good in here.
We just got one, a 3-acre property, kind of not too far from you. It's south in like Bowmanville, Clarington area. We just bought one a few days ago. It looks like a really great deal. 3-acre property.
Yeah. So my property, I love that. I'm out in the country. I got an acre, but it backs onto the farmer that has like thousands of acres. Yeah. And we got the bunch of Mennonites out here just riding around in their little carriage their horses. It's crazy.
I know your area because my cottage is close by. So I've seen the Mennonites, and I go to that farm not too far from you and this kind of stuff. So it's awesome.
Yeah, I know. I love it out here. All right. Well, again, appreciate it, Aaron, and we will see you next time. We're going to have you back on and check in on your business and see how you're doing and, in the future, if you don't mind coming back.
Sounds fantastic, Nathan. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for being on here. Talk to you later.
All right. Bye for now.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's Nathan Payne, and for the first time ever, we just released this insane training bundle that has literally everything that I've learned from doing a combined 4,000 deals in real estate, all from starting with absolutely no previous business background experience or any real estate experience. Plus, there's over $19,000 worth of free gifts that we're throwing in, all for an insanely low price.